Okay, this is the review for the percent test. I know some of you really struggle with percent, so I thought I would go ahead and just try to do as many as I could on the review. We first have 42% of 80. Okay. Now, I'm going to set all these up like ratios. I know that there are other ways to do this. For instance, one way, and again, you're welcome to use those other ways, but like 0.42 times 80 would give you the answer here, because you can change the percent into a decimal and then multiply. So you could do that. The of means multiply. You could just do it that way. If you're using the ratio method, you would say, okay, I'm going to make a ratio for my percents and a ratio for my numbers. And remember, both of these we're supposed to think I want part to whole on both of these. Well, 42% means 42 out of 100. Percent means out of 100. So 42 over 100, that's a real easy part to set up. Now over here, what we're doing is we're saying of 80. Remember, of usually tells me the whole is coming next, so here's the whole. It's 80. And it kind of makes sense. You want part of 80, don't you? So you can tell 80 is the whole. And then you could cross multiply here, 42 times 80. So when you have these proportions, remember, when I set up it as a proportion, I don't have to worry about whether I'm supposed to multiply or divide or what gets multiplied by what. That's the beauty of the proportion method. Because you solve them the same way every time. You cross multiply, and if you don't know algebra, what you do is you multiply the two numbers across from each other, which is 42 times 80. And again, you can use a calculator. I'm going to use that to speed the video up. That's 360. And then you would cross multiply the other way if you know algebra. That would be equal to 100x. But if you don't know algebra, what you do is you divide by the number across from the unknown. Well, my unknown is my x, so I'm going to divide by 100. And remember, dividing by 100 here is just going to move the decimal place over two spaces to the left. So that's going to be 33.6 is your answer there. Look at the next one. 6 3/4% of 900, okay? We had something like this on the last test. This is number 2 on the review. And so we're doing another one like that on this test. What you can do here is you could, there's a lot of different things you can do here. If you want to use the decimal method, the of means multiply. So, first you might want to think about doing this. 6 3/4 is the same thing as 6.75. So what we have is 6.75% of 900. If you're using the decimal method, you would just say, okay, I need to change the percent into a decimal, so let me move the decimal place over 2 to the left, which would give you 0.0675, and of means multiply, times 900, okay, 0.0675 times 900 is 60.75, okay? Now, if you're using a proportion, you could do this. Remember, when we do your proportions, we have a percent fraction and we have a number fraction. And they're two fractions set equal to each other, and we're thinking part to whole. Okay, so if you want to use the ratio method for this, you'd say, well, 6 3/4% means put that over 100. Percent means put that number over 100. I'm going to go ahead and write it just so it looks a little less intimidating as 6.75. Okay, now of 900, of means, hey, watch out, the whole's coming next. So the 900 is the whole. So it's going to go on the bottom, and my missing quantity is x. And if you think about it, it makes sense again. 900 is the whole. We want part of 900. We don't want all of it. If we wanted all of it, we would say 100% of 900. We only want a little piece of it. So it makes sense that 900 goes on the bottom. Okay, so now we're going to cross multiply to solve like we always do. We have a proportion. It would be 6.75 times 900. And you get 60.75, and then you divide by the thing across from the unknown, so we'll divide by 100. And dividing by 100 just moves the decimal place over two spaces to the left, so you get 60.75. And if you look, our answers match no matter which method we chose. Okay? 36 is what percent of, and it's 120. This is where the ratio method's really going to come in to be handy. Again, with the ratio method, I solve all percents the same way. I have a percent and a fraction, and I have a number fraction. And I know that what I'm missing here, we always kind of go to the percent first because we know it's always something over 100, but it's what percent. Hey, that's what's missing is the percent part. There's where my unknown is. And you could put an X, and in the past you might have put a question mark. It's fine, however you do it. Either one would be fine. And basically, isn't 36, it's part of 120, right? Again, if you think about it, of tells me the whole's coming next. So here's my whole right here. And on my fractions, I'm always setting them up as part to whole. Okay? So the whole is 120, and we want to know what part 36 is of 120. So now if we cross multiply, we get 36 times 100 is 3600. And then when we divide by the thing across from the unknown, we're going to divide by 120, and we're going to get 30 as our answer. Again, you may use a calculator on your test to help that part go faster because there's 20 questions, and so that would definitely help the work go faster. Okay, so number 4 is 453% of 60. Okay, now again, what you can do, there's 2 ways to do this. I'll do it with the decimal method first. To change a percent into a decimal, let's think about this. If you get confused, I sometimes get confused, guys. 53%, we wouldn't multiply by 53. We would move the decimal place over 2 spaces to the left and multiply by 0.53. So for 453%, we'd say, okay, our decimal's here. We've got to scoot it over 2 places. That would be 4.53. And in the decimal method, of means multiply, so we'd multiply that by 60 to get our answer. And again, that's fine if you want to use that method. Most of you are really familiar with it. You get 271.8. If you're using the ratio method, though, remember it's always the same way that you set it up. You got numbers, you got percents. You're going to make 2 fractions equal to each other, and you're thinking the part out of the whole. Okay, the percent part is easy. You just take that number and you put it over 100. So we get rid of it first, 453 over 100. I don't even have to worry about moving a decimal place because I know a percent means put that over 100. Now we want 453% of 60. 60 was our whole. Actually, this number is going to be our part. It's going to be larger than the whole, but we know that 60 is the whole because just the way it's worded, and then also of, when I see the word of, when I'm using the proportions method, or the ratio method, it tells me this is the whole, the number that comes out of it. So the part's what's missing, we'll call it X. And when I cross multiply, 453 times 60 is 27180, if I'm reading that right. And then I'm going to divide by the number across from the unknown. 100 is across from the unknown. If you're doing algebra, you just flat cross multiply and solve for X. But if you don't know algebra, you could divide that out. You could use your calculator, but if you think about it, you can cut 2 zeros off the top and 2 zeros off the bottom. That's like dividing it by 100. And when you do that, you're going to get 2718. So something's gone wrong here. Let's look at this. 453%, 453 over 100. That's correct. 60 is my whole. Let me multiply my numbers again. 453 times 60 equal 27180. Divide by 100. We get 271.8. I don't know what I was thinking. Oh, I know what I did. When you multiply 453, let me kind of get rid of this a minute. When you multiply 453 by 60, it's 27180, and I wrote an extra 0 down on it. And then we divide by the 100. So the setup was right. I just wrote the wrong number down off my calculator. And then I would get, dividing by 100 means moving the decimal place over 2 spaces, or put it on your calculator to get the result. And you get the same thing as we did up here. Again, I know some of you don't like having 2 different ways to look at things, but it's good because ratios can take care of it without you having to remember all the weird stuff you have to do. So that's why I'm teaching it to you. Plus, ratios can be used in so many different situations. I'm going to have to make another video for this, so I'll just stop here.